Hello, and welcome to episode 11 of the Baker's Dozen podcast, where we talk about our voluptuous cakes. Sam Spangler, how are you doing this afternoon?
Fantastic.
Evening? 11. Episode 11. We skipped a week last week. Sam was tired again.
Yeah, I'm sorry, everybody.
I may just on the weeks you're tired, just record like 30 minutes of me.
Maybe you should. No reason. Maybe you should. I was going to say, the thing is I like to bring high energy to the podcast. When I'm tired, it's not going to happen.
You are all the energy.
I don't know about that, but I wasn't feeling it. So sorry about that, people. But glad to be back.
Well, so just know that if we ever skip a week, it's probably Sam's fault. And if it's my fault, I'll still say it's Sam's fault.
Yeah, it all works.
We're going to talk about that too, because I want to get your opinion on that.
Okay.
Well, I know, but the trailer.
Okay. Fair enough.
How was your last week, Ben? How was your New Year's?
It was good. I had a really good New Year's. As you may have known, you were there.
I was there.
So we had our Brandon and his lovely
that wasn't
over.
Last week. That was 2 weeks ago.
No, that was 2 weeks ago.
Okay. Well, that's what my brain's like.
But it was a really good evening, and it was one of those that I had worked, and so I kind of wasn't sure how awake I was going to be. But the time it flew by.
When you get a little alcohol into anybody.
Yeah, it was
kind of get them all happy.
We played some games that you'd never played before. We did some Secret Hitler, which is probably one of my favorite
Which I
games.
had a lot of fun playing.
Yeah, so that was good. And cheered on the New Year's with the kids all awake. I don't think we lost anybody.
No, we didn't.
Along the way, which was surprising.
I was surprised. I thought Logan would start to crash at some point.
Yeah.
The youngest ones are always the ones that.
Yeah.
But we got home and he was done.
Yeah.
He started fighting it a little, went right to sleep.
Oh, for sure.
You had the privilege that we were at your house. All you had to do was tell them to go up to bed, and they probably passed right out.
It is the nice thing about hosting.
Yes.
I honestly think that may be the first time that we've just stayed at home in the last 4 or 5 years. So it was it was really nice.
And I just have a stupid memory for some reason. Didn't you and Emily go out last year?
Last year we went out. We went with our friends to Union Station for their New Year's Eve thing. So some of our good friends, Britt and Jen, hey guys, their anniversary is on New Year's Eve. They got married then. And so they, they're like, oh, we'll always remember it. We can go out and celebrate it. And we always talked about going to Union Station and doing the New Year's Eve party there. And we did. And it was a lot of fun. We stayed at one of the hotels down there. So, we were pretty close by. But we did that. We've gone to a couple places with some other friends. I mean, it seems like we always like, let's just stay in this year.
Right.
And this was the first year we've done it in a while, and it was glorious.
This is probably the first year in over 10 years that we went somewhere that isn't just sitting at home.
Wow. We were happy you broke that.
Yeah, thank you. I'm glad we had a lot of fun there. The games were fun. Yes. I've owned Secret Hitler since the Kickstarter because I kickstarted it, and I have yet to. I never played it until 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, no, it was a blast. So.
We also played Super Fight, which.
Oh my gosh, my son can't stop talking about that.
Yeah.
He said that we should have you guys over again so we could play it.
Just play Super Fight.
Bring over Super Fight.
It's the funny thing is that's not even mine.
Oh, that's awesome.
My buddy Ryan let me borrow it, and I've just had it ever since.
Yeah, just for the elevator pitch, for those that are wondering what it is, you basically are creating a superhero, and you're fighting somebody that has created a superhero, and everybody's voting on who they think would win. And there's all these quirky details that occur with it.
And we did it where it was one person versus the person next to him, and then it just kept moving down the line.
Yeah.
I want to try it where it's everybody does it at the same time, and then you argue the weakest out. This is the worst hero. And then go out.
Yeah.
The kicker with that, though, is you have to pick the worst person and go up without trying to insult them, so that when it gets down to you and the person whoever's last, you're not like,
them to vote on you.
Oh yeah, I heard what you said about my superhero. Yeah, I know, we're good.
I think the thing I loved about it is that I'm not sure how in the know your wife is with it, but like my wife doesn't know anything superhero wise, and my daughter and like some of the other people that were playing, they are not into the zeitgeist of like the nerd culture and world. And so like I was like, I'm going to listen to these arguments and try to understand like how you could win this, how you could not, and I'm just gonna like put my my own thoughts aside, and they have to make the argument. And it was a lot of fun to see what they came up with, not having any knowledge of what they could use. It was great.
I would actually say that my wife knows a little more than probably most women do.
Yeah.
Especially in her age group. But
and for that game.
But even then,
works well.
There are some limitations, but like wait, but usually she'll just look at me and I'll explain it real quick and she got it.
Well, and like some things you kind of got to know your audience too. Like if you're playing with a bunch of people that don't know anything, you can't say, well, this person, like, he's got adamantium, which is an undestructible. Like, no, that's not going to work. You're going to have to like explain it on a more basic level.
Which they have a lot of different versions of that game, and we were just playing the standard one, which is the standard one's probably the best if you don't know, but they do have specialized, actual superheroes.
Getting a little nerdier.
Right. So, but no, I had a lot of fun. Maybe something similar next year. And yeah, we'll get together. We'll figure out a day to do some more super fight for Kai. Somebody walking down my stairs.
I don't know. Maybe it's Vic. Is he gonna
maybe
join
Vic.
us?
We're just gonna pop on out of nowhere.
No?
I think we're just gonna. This is gonna be a news episode.
I think that's.
We have a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
Real quick though, because we normally do this later in this episode. This is even though it's a week late, our first episode of the month. So PlayStation Plus has new games, and so does Xbox games with gold. The PlayStation Plus games are Uncharted Collection. Which
it's a good game.
If you don't have it,
good games. I guess
good games. Yes.
Yeah, not just a good game.
And then Goat Simulator. I've still yet to actually play Goat Simulator, but there's just so many people I know that like, oh, it's so stupid and fun.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, it's just one of those. I think it's you pick it up, you play it for 15 minutes. You want to kill some time. It's just so stupid. Goat Simulator is what I think Goat Simulator probably wanted to be what Untitled Goose Game was. Maybe. I don't know. No? Like a small... I don't know. Haven't played both. Goose Game seemed more focused. A lot more focused than Goat Simulator. Well, maybe that's it. Maybe Goat Simulator just needed to be a little bit more focused. I mean, it's fine. It is what it is. I think it did really well. Yeah. From what I understand. Numbers-wise. Xbox games with gold. Styx, Shards of Darkness. Mm-hmm. Batman Telltale series. Yeah, first one. It's the first one, right? I think so, but I don't think that's till the other half of the month. Well, right. I'm just talking about the ones for the month. For the full month. Tekken 6, Lego Star Wars 2, which is the original trilogy. Yep. So those are your free games. I'm gonna go ahead and I don't know. We have some non-video game stuff and video game stuff. Let's start with the non-video game stuff. All right. And I'm gonna lay it on me. I'm gonna hit on some old stuff first. Since we didn't get to talk about it last week. Here we go. First of all, so shirt on. Mandalorian had knocked off Stranger Things several weeks ago as the number one streaming television show on everything. Okay. 2 weeks later, Witcher knocked off Mandalorian as the most watched. Does that surprise you? A little bit. Because it's a Star Wars aspect of everything? A little bit of that, and also the fact that I feel like The Witcher's very adult themed, where I do feel like Mandalorian, you could maybe... Well, when I guess if like you're watching it with family, that makes sense because you're going to have an adult queuing it up to watch it. Right. But like I feel like with Mandalorian, you could probably, get the age limit 8 and above, depending on how, mature your child is, how you feel like they are. And they may find that interesting and fun to watch. I think Witcher, not so much. I think the major reason, and even though it's popular, mass influx and everything, is the already established install base of Netflix. Almost everybody has Netflix. Whereas even Disney Plus isn't really been around that long. And while, it has a massive Disney following, right? I think more people have had Netflix for longer. Yeah, I could see that. So I think maybe that's just surprising. The Witcher. Well, I will tell you, Henry Cavill, man, that guy's just a good guy. And he just, kudos to him. He is also. Anytime you want to be on this podcast, yes, by the way, you're more than welcome. Please come join us. And what helps us in our favor is he is a Chiefs and Royals fan. How is this guy? He's getting better. He is. I get to know more about him. He really adopted. So when he got cast as Superman, he delved. He's always liked Superman, but he really delved into it. So he started following the Royals, and he wasn't really big into American football. He's British, so he likes soccer. Right, fair enough. So I wouldn't even think he'd like baseball. So he started watching football and baseball here, and of course he was like, well, from Kansas, Clark Kent's from Kansas. Okay. I'm going to follow the Royals and I'll follow the Chiefs. And apparently when he's over here, during the summer, he'll catch Royals games if they're near like the Dodgers or somewhere. That's crazy. He's gone to Chiefs games before.
like a couple weeks ago on Instagram, he posted he was in LA. It was the last game of the year against the Chargers.
Yeah.
He was in LA for something out on a golf course, and he took a picture of him wearing his Chiefs hat and had a Chiefs the 60-year anniversary on his golf cart. That's what he took out with him while he was playing golf.
That's insanity.
Right. So it's like,
that's great.
Yeah. He's been on the Rich Eisen show, which is a football focused television show, talking like, oh yeah, he'll talk about the Chiefs and the Royals nonstop. The guy is also an avid gamer.
Oh,
he's beaten Witcher 3 apparently several times, and like just.
Well, and there was that thing that went viral briefly where they were asking him, "What do you play on? You play on PS4 or Xbox?" And he's like, PC.
Yeah, like, he's like,
let's not be dumb.
He was like, I have a little desk with a little PC, computer just in my house. Like that's. I pretty much spend my time at my desk.
That I'm just like, he is one of us.
Yes, he is.
He is one of us.
He doesn't look like any of us.
No.
And he doesn't sound like any of us because he sounds very intelligent, and not that I don't sound intelligent. Wow. You sound more intelligent. There's something about a British accent. There's something about a British accent that people go,
jeez. Just pretty much blatantly called us stupid, or all stupid Americans over here.
We are all stupid Americans.
Dang. Wow.
Anyways, but no, yes, Henry, we're in Kansas City.
Yeah, come join us anytime.
It's a good
time.
I'm definitely gonna find his publicist's email, and I'm gonna send him like, dude, like we'll just talk about video games, or we don't talk video games. We talk about Superman. We can talk about whatever he wants. Whatever he wants to talk
about. The boots you wore on The Witcher. I'll talk about the boots you wore on The Witcher. Whatever he wants to talk about.
I'll make chili.
Yeah, there you go. I don't know if he'll eat it. He's probably a really big health nut. I don't know. He's fit as can be.
It doesn't matter. He's Henry Cavill.
That's true.
Do whatever you want to.
Yeah, he can do it.
New Mutants released a new trailer. It's actually being released this year. And not only is it being released this year, the original cut before Fox got so involved is the one they're doing. Did I accidentally close that one? No, I didn't. I'm going to read. So iFilm, I'm just going to read, or /film, I'm sorry. This is the first paragraph. The strange saga of the New Mutants movie continues. Josh Boone's horror-infused X-Men spinoff has been shuffled from one release date to another, with reports of massive reshoots and others behind-the-scene tomfoolery rumored. Tomfoolery. Let's just throw that into an article. No, the movie is now set to open this year, and there's even a new trailer on the way next week. This was right before they did it. But that's not all. According to Boone himself, the version that's finally being released is his original cut. Because
what's this rated?
I think it's rated. It's probably rated PG-13.
Wait, but this is a horror movie.
It is. It's a horror X-Men movie, not X-Men, mutant movie.
Well,
here, let me just throw out the second paragraph real quick.
All right.
Let's recap, shall we? New Mutants was originally set for April 13, 2018. Oh my gosh, that was 2 years ago.
Wow. Yeah.
And a trailer aligned, which I loved the first trailer. Like I was like, oh, this is a thing. We're doing this. I'll watch this. Aligned with that release, made its way to theaters and to the internet. And then it all went to hell. The release date moved to February 22nd, 2019, and then to August 9th, 2019, before finally ending up on April 3rd, 2020. Rumor had it that the producers wanted a massive reshoot, but those reshoots never seemed to actually happen. In March of 2019, New Mutants star Maisie Williams said that the reshoot still hadn't been done, and added that she had no idea when the movie would ever come out. So did you see the trailer?
Yeah, I saw the trailer.
What did you think of the trailer?
I'm going to be honest, I'm just more confused a little bit by everything, because I think that was the acquiring of Fox, and so now I guess it seems like this is not part of the MCU at all.
No. Okay, well, I don't know. Well, here's the thing. I don't know.
Which is fine. Right. Which is fine. I don't need this to be part of the larger universe. I mean, it can be its own standalone thing. I just don't feel like I've ever really understood what they're going for.
Right.
Like, what's the plan? And I think that Fox's X-Men kind of ran its course, like before even Dark Phoenix with Apocalypse or whatever his name is. Mm-hmm. I kind of was like, okay, like I just feel like they've run out of steam.
Right.
Like they are kind of done. And so this seems like it's kind of still in that vein. But I think the fact that they're throwing a horror element into it makes it more interesting.
Yeah. But here's the thing. I wouldn't mind this being how we're starting to get introduction into an MCU mutants, because it's like, you know what I mean? Like, so So they've already confirmed. Disney, Ryan Reynolds has basically said Deadpool 3 is in. Like, that's in, it will more than likely be completely part of the MCU. Right. I can't imagine them not inserting it in, because of the way Deadpool is. They can just write off, oh yeah, we just switched things up. Don't worry about it. We're just roll and acknowledge it in film and do their whole shtick. Yeah. So New Mutants comes out. I can see that as okay, so this is, we're going to let this go. We'll see the reception it gets. And if it's solid and everybody likes it, then they can maybe take some elements and use it to infuse into an MCU, finally being into the X-Men into the MCU. And if not, then they'll just wait till Deadpool 3 comes out and infuse it however they want.
Well, actually, perfect segue to a trailer that just released.
Yes.
Today. So, Morbius.
Morbius,
huh?
So what'd you think of the Morbius trailer?
I got excited, but not for the reason you might think. But it actually might be for the reason you think, when you kind of get to the basis of it.
Okay. So, as a whole, I really liked the Morbius trailer. Like, I've always liked Jared Leto. He's a really good actor.
I can take him or leave him.
Have you seen him in other things other than Suicide Squad?
Yeah, I saw him in Dallas Texas Buyers Club or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
He was good in it. I don't know.
So, he looked like he was going to do really good with this role. I liked the feel of it. I
also saw him in, crap. I'm just forgetting the name of the Blade Runner. Blade Runner 2049. He was actually good.
I still need to watch that movie.
We've
had this conversation. Stop. Anyways, my what?
American base.
American base. So I liked the where they were going with it. I'm like, it's very interesting. The parts where he's like got the smoke around him and the effects and the moving around. Like, all right, this is cool. Now, there's coincidentally, and this is the parts where I'm sure we're going to talk about. Michael Keaton's Vulture is at the very end of the trailer.
Right.
How do you feel about that? Because it's it's like they're tying it into the MCU.
Yeah, I like it.
There's a picture of Spider-Man on a wall,
which my son saw. I showed him the trailer, and he caught it, and I didn't.
I didn't catch it the first time. I saw it second time. Scrawled across it is Murderer.
Yeah.
Which segues into the end of Far From Home.
Right.
But that Spider-Man is Sam Raimi's Spider-Man.
Oh, that's right. That's what people were kind of bringing up.
So that's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, was this just we have a stock photo of Spider-Man, let's just use it? Or are they really trying to connect all the dimensional universes happening at any given time?
Well, let me just say this. The reason I'm excited is because there's more things.
You cannot talk.
No, I can't talk. I
got you water, Sam.
I know.
Come on, do it.
Okay. Let's see. I'm gonna have to try to pull it together here.
Find your inner.
There are things that are more dangerous than vampires out. Like what?
Blade.
Like Blade.
This would be an amazing way to introduce Blade as well.
And I think, why not?
The problem is Blade is MCU. It's not Sony.
I think that Sony and MCU are making friendly.
If they were making that friendly, the opening scroll at the beginning of the trailer would have had the official Marvel reel, not in association with Marvel. But see, that's the other thing. Like, I feel like I have this bad feeling that the reason we saw Sam Raimi Spider-Man is because they pitched this to Disney, and they're like, no, we don't want any part of this.
We'll have to see.
But see, then also go back to the opening scroll.
Right.
From the studio that brought you Spider-Man Homecoming, Spider-Man Far From Home. No. And then Venom. You brought us Venom.
Yeah.
Disney brought the other two. Your name is just on it. Like, let's be real here for a second.
Nah, I'm interested. I'm interested to see where this goes.
Same. I'm really like, let's show it to me. Right. And since I'm pretty sure you didn't watch it, so I get this out of the way. Did you watch the second Birds of Prey trailer?
No.
No? Just not going to?
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to talk about the Birds of Prey trailer.
You watched it?
I did. I told you I watched it.
I thought you said you heard somebody talk about it.
The reason I watched it was because I heard they showed the mask. Right. That's my one thing.
On it, so.
See, that's been my one thing is I'm like, he needs the mask. And like, you have to at least tell me he's going to have the mask.
Yes, you're so funny.
I am. So I will say this about the Birds of Prey trailer. It was amazing. I liked the first trailer. Made me want to see the movie more. But it just felt off somehow. Like, it was like, I liked it. I like all the characters, like what they're doing. I like the casting, even though a lot of people don't. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. But I'm in.
Yeah.
This trailer made me like, oh, I'm so excited for this movie.
You ready for it?
And it comes out in 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
That's crazy.
I wasn't expecting.
One of the shortest run times, which I don't really care.
Yeah, I don't care about run
but
time.
That kind of popped up there today, and I think it's funny when it almost is delivered as a headline, like, oh, look at this, and the downside.
Well, they did that with like,
I don't care.
Indie games runtime revealed. Like, who gives?
Yeah,
just give me the movie. Like, I don't care. Like, the two things I normally don't care about are rating and runtime, whatever. I mean, having said that, if it's something like Deadpool and you tell me we're going to move from an R rating to a PG-13 rating, that would bother me a little bit because I feel you're not doing justice. You're not doing justice and following suit with everything. Unless you do it in a funny way, which with Deadpool you may be able to figure out. Yeah, but I don't know. They've kind of set it up to where you need to continue a trend. I agree. I'm just saying that if they could, they've got very smart writers out there. If there's a way they could somehow, make it work. My highlights from the trailer, seeing the black mask. Yeah, fine with it. No problem with it. Looks good. Comet accurate. I'm fine. Seeing the canary cry from Black Canary, like officially seeing it. That was nice. Bruce the hyena. That's always been one of my favorite things about Harley Quinn is her pet hyenas and the fact that they put this in the movie. Right. It's not 2, it's just 1, which I'm fine with. Right. I highly enjoyed it. And just the tone. Right. Was like. Seems like it fits. I'm going to tell you what it reminded me of. Crank. If that tells you anything, that's all I need to hear. Yeah, I hope I don't oversell that, but I highly went to the top tier right now. Highly enjoyed that movie or that trailer. Lock and Key trailer. Now, I've read Lock and Key. Okay. I've read the whole series. It's amazing. My goal is to have every single one of the hardcover first editions. Okay, I only have one. Which I want you to read that because I really want your input. But having not read it ever, what did you think of the trailer? Well, I'm going to be honest, I didn't watch it. You know, I told... Oh. I know. Just to derail this conversation. Watch it right now. So, I even texted it to you. You know what? You haven't watched Blade Runner 2049, so back off, yo. I haven't incorporated 2.5 hours of my life into watching a movie. You could have watched something for 4 minutes. Well, I was probably distracted for one reason or another. So let me first say this. Do you know who Joe Hill is? Mm-mm. Joe Hill is a great horror movie writer or horror book writer. One of my favorite books, Nosferatu, is really good. He wrote that. Heart-Shaped Box, and I'm going to blank on everything else. But Lock and Key is where I was introduced to him. Okay. Because of his horror background. He is also the son of Stephen King. Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay. Unlike his father, he can finish the story. So damn. But shots fired, Stephen King. Represent you. Come on our podcast. Okay, so do me a favor. Stupid American face. You're stupid American, British American. Is that what they call people in the Northwest or Northeast? British Americans, or something like that. They probably could. Anyways, I want you to read that and then watch the trailer. Okay. All right. I'll watch the trailer. Giving Sam my first copy or the first issue of Lock and Key. I think that's it on the trailers and movie stuff. It's really good. Yeah, there was something I wanted to say about Disney Plus when you kind of brought it up, but I can't remember what it is. All the drop off after Mandalorian was done. Was there a pretty big? There was I don't remember what it was, but I read that there were apparently. Did you finish this season? Did you? No, I still haven't finished the season. Okay. Somebody told me to watch The Marvelous Miss Maisel, and
Oh yeah,
that took place of finishing Mandalorian,
and rightly so.
And rightly so. It was a great show. I highly recommend it.
It's fantastic.
I wasn't real confident, and then like even after the first episode, I was like, all right, let's watch the next one. Actually,
as I tell people, I don't recommend bad things.
We have one episode left. That's right. I have the season finale of season 3.
Okay.
So we'll watch that. Yeah.
Very good.
Well, do you remember your Disney Plus?
I don't remember. There was something about it, but it'll come to me. I'll probably be like, as we're getting ready to shut down, I'll be like, oh yeah.
And I feel like we mentioned it before. The Witcher 3 comes back 2021. 2020. Yeah, 2021.
Yeah.
And then
next year.
Yeah, and then Mandalorian is this
2021.
year.
It's this year?
This fall.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh wait, I guess that's when it debuted, didn't it?
Yeah, it debuted in the fall. The problem is it's so we're so used to the streaming society that we binge everything. Mm-hmm. But when Disney Plus or any of these other people do episodic,
I wonder when Stranger Things season 4 comes out, which I know you don't get.
No, I care
about.
I need to finish watching.
I like season 3. I know some people had, were like, kind of lost interest, but I enjoyed it.
Is your daughter still watching it?
Yeah, she really liked season 3 as well.
You said 3, and I typed in Stranger 3.
Stranger 3. That'd be a good name for a show too.
Stranger 3.
Ooh, that'll be one of our names.
Stranger 3. We'll add that to our show name. We're not supposed to talk about the show name. I might edit that out.
First rule.
First
rule.
First
rule.
Talk
about the show. Second rule. You don't talk about the show name.
So yeah, I think that's it for the non-gaming
Just have
stuff.
a beep.
Just a beep.
Yeah,
welcome to beep.
Yeah.
Sorry, my
brain.
Sorry,
while you were looking this up, have you played anything new?
Yes. I started My Name is Pedro, or my friend Pedro.
Yeah.
I love the concept.
Yeah.
I'm having problems with the controls. I've only done the first full mission or first level.
Yeah.
Does it get easier? I don't know why.
No,
my brain is really having a hard time using the.
There's a lot of stuff going on in My Friend Pedro, so it doesn't really get much easier. If anything, they just add more controls on top of it. So at least that's what I've experienced so far. I got through the first whole level basically, and I think I'm in the second area.
Okay,
so that's pretty good.
I've been playing a lot of GTA 5 online.
We attempted to play.
We tried to play GTA online,
which ended up with us running over each other multiple times.
It was fun though.
It was.
And I've accumulated some things and some money, and I think if we actually try to do it again, I would love to do a heist because I watched a couple of heist videos, and the stuff that goes into it looks really cool, and really fun.
Would be fun. Yeah, if we can make it work, I'd be up for that.
Other than that, I haven't. This has been my cycle for the last week. Play GTA 5 online for a while. Mm-hmm. Play MLB The Show.
Oh, gotcha. Why MLB The Show?
I'm ready for baseball to come back.
Got the knack for it.
I'm kind of excited. So we've acknowledged we live in the Midwest. I'm a Royals fan. So are you a Mariners fan? No. Okay.
The only one team that I kind of support as far as Washington goes is just the Seahawks.
The Seahawks.
Yeah. Which they're out.
So it was tough game in Lambeau. I mean,
they just don't look the same.
They don't.
There's something. They just seem off.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but I digress.
Well, what about the Chiefs though? I know you like the Chiefs. Mm-hmm. The Chiefs.
That's the nice thing is I get to cheer for the Chiefs because they were in different divisions. So it's like, all right, I can cheer for them. It's not a big deal. And with them doing what they've been doing, this has been really exciting.
Yeah, and a heart attack inducing.
I know. They have the other team get up 24, and you're just like, oh, it's over.
There's all sorts of those memes going out right now with Patrick.
I knew
Kelsey was like, hey, let's spot him 24.
As soon as they started coming back, I was like, that's what's going to be popping up all over the place. And it did.
But yeah, so there's new management in play. There's new ownership, new management. I'm kind of excited to see what happens with the Royals, and it's baseball. Video games for me are a relaxing thing.
Yeah,
because I love the pitching aspect. And just the hitting is just calm, and so I've just been cycling between those two. And then I played.
Nice.
I did play a little bit of. We did last week. We played a little bit of Rainbow Six. I played a little bit of Call of Duty. I just haven't put time into anything other than those other 2 games.
Yeah. I'm going to get my Halo 5.
Oh, I did download Halo 5.
Yeah. I don't know. Every now and then, it's just a game it's consistently good and fun and radical and just, like goofy. Like, it's one of those that I go in to do some, like, have fun, and it's just like I'm typically laughing half the way in or cursing, being like, this is ridiculous. But it's always like something funny or something enjoyable that I'm like, this is great. So,
have you played anything?
That's basically it.
Yeah. I noticed you were also playing. I assumed it was with Kai.
Of the Master Chief.
Collection.
Yeah, I've been playing through Halo 2 with him, and it's been nice. It's a game that I bought my first Xbox because one of my buddies and I, he introduced me to Halo, and we were playing he was playing the story, but then he'd want to play multiplayer with me, but he would just destroy me, which that's not really fun, getting destroyed.
It's really not.
But I was like, I wanted to know what was going on in the story, because it was, for a first-person shooter, it was really interesting to actually have this like dedicated story that was like, wow, there's more going on here, what it is. And I got so tired of him like playing one level and be like, okay, we're gonna go play multiplayer, and then him just like destroying me. Then I went out and bought an Xbox and got Halo, and I was like, I'm just playing through this. And so now it's like to have my son be able to get to a point where we can actually play together, and he's like, oh, let's go and play, and we crack up at moments, we're having such a good time, and it's just a blast. Yeah. It's great.
I wasted many a times doing stupid crap on Halo 3 multiplayer where it was just like,
good moments.
So there's 2 gaming news before we jump into the PlayStation 5 stuff, which we haven't gotten a chance to talk about. And you and I have actually talked.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go first.
No. You go. We can talk about it when you get to PlayStation 5. Well, okay. I'm just going to drop it now. The most lackluster CES announcement.
Jesus,
ever.
That was so...
Brandon and I were so excited for like just the idea.
I bought into all the hype that they were like, they could be unveiling it. They have their own keynote speech.
We both kind of did like, okay, maybe something like really cool. Maybe Xbox has shown their console. They've shown the concept behind it. So this is going to be really interesting. Like maybe they'll just like give a little blurb, but it'll be like, then everybody can kind of start picking stuff apart.
Right.
What did we get?
The logo. Which is the same logo they have for every PlayStation, but with the 5. And I'm going to tell you what, I'm going to actually blame them for why we didn't record last week, because I bet you and I both had the same amount of hype going into it, and then when it was nothing, it was such a letdown, and you're just like, dude, I'm really tired. I don't think I'm going to be able to. Like, yeah, no, I get it. I'm kind of anticlimactic.
I was sitting there watching it live on my MacBook, and I was like kind of sitting there. I was like, okay, here it comes, and then it just like popped up, and they're like, we are into gaming, and it's like PS5, and you're like...
Yeah, they released all the really nice, impressive numbers that the PS4 has, which is fine. Yeah. But, man, I was like, when they started talking about PlayStation 5, I was like,
yeah, so
here it goes.
Yeah, I don't want to dive much deeper until you get to the PS5 announcement. But
right.
Yeah, that was pretty much the most like disappointing thought that, like, hey, something was going to happen, which is maybe on us. Maybe that's on us.
Right.
But... to getting a little excited, being like, cool, Xbox has said something, so maybe PS5 is going to be like, that was a shot across the bow.
Right.
We're going to do the same thing.
Right. Just real quick, here's the console, here's the controller. Well, see, and they did that with the PS4. They showed the controller before they showed the console.
Yeah.
So, like, I was like, give us, something. Give us something. The Wi-Fi cannot be, keep trying. I don't know why it did that. So we'll get to some more PS5 stuff here in a minute, but you and I had talked about this a little bit. There's a little more to elaborate that I was incorrect on something I talked to you about. So Infinity Ward used to be run by 2 guys. It was founded, Vince Zampella, and I don't remember the other guy. Sorry, other guy. Vince Zampella and him went to go start Respawn. They did Titanfall, which blew up, was really good. They did, and then Apex, of course, just really blew up. And then they eventually switched gears and moved to Fallen Jedi, or Fallen Order. And they've really established, and they got this partnership with EA going. Well, they put in new leadership when I think Fallen Order was a big key to them. Like, okay, we're adjusting how we're going. First person shooter, we're going to keep supporting Apex, but we're going to try doing new things, and we want to do more Fallen Order type gameplay, plus a sequel to Fallen Order because it was Star Wars and huge. So Vince Zampella has moved on. He is now heading DICE LA.
Yeah.
So
that's interesting.
The studio responsible for Medal of Honor. I had incorrectly told you they were going to relaunch Medal of Honor.
You did tell me that.
I did tell you that. They're not. He was most of the press release I had read was basically talking about how he was a huge fan of Medal of Honor growing up. But he does want to tell World War II stories again because there's a lot in there that he still feels hasn't been told. Because
do you think we've had enough? This is just an honest question to you. Do you think we've had enough?
I think we've had enough World War II stories of the same thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that does.
Because, and here's what I think it might be, and I think this is what he's trying to tell or talk about is more in terms of multiplayer, it's always the same thing. But he made it sound more like it was the actual stories, which made me think they're wanting to launch like a first-person shooter with like a good story mode. Yeah. You know what I mean? Where they're trying to tell some of the actual.
I feel like that's what Call of Duty tried to do 2 years ago, though, is to try to tell a little bit more personal story, like Band of Brothers. Yeah. Which I don't know. I mean, it's just one of those. It's like the well that's continually mined over and over again, or the mine is continually mined.
It was a long war, and there was a lot of shit there.
There is. I just sometimes. It's kind of, it's like, well, I don't know.
Well, I will say this. I think in terms of for DICE, it's a great move because they've been stagnant in everything they've done for a while. And I think you've got the person who basically turned around Infinity Ward and Call of Duty and kind of revolutionized what people consider a top tier first person shooter. Right. And then moved to the battle royale scene with Apex. And kind of kicked it on its head. I think it's a different. I think it'd be good to have some new, fresh blood that's maybe not groomed by Electronic Arts.
Maybe so. I mean, only time will tell. Right. And like that's kind of the thing. If they come out and show something intriguing, that's like okay. But if it seems to kind of be the same, war is terrible, and these people are so close, and more that fight together, it's like okay, that's the same thing. Yeah. But then if they're like, and then Blade's introduced. Now we're talking. Now you've got my interest.
Now you are a part of this.
So we'll see.
Oh, see, and I lost my internet connection, and now my page I had was gone because the next thing I wanted to talk about was Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, Ragnarok. Right?
Have you looked at the leaks?
No, I haven't seen any of the leaks. Just kind of heard talk. 4-player co-op.
4-player co-op.
Yep.
So
Ragnarok.
I was really
same vein as Odyssey, like at least gameplay wise.
Yeah. I was really excited about what am I trying to say? The Unity. Yeah. Before it came out, and then it just was not put together well at all. I think they probably put way more time and effort into this, but Ragnarok that's Norse.
Yep.
And I think that
goes right in vein with you.
Yeah.
Vikings.
There we go. You know what I mean? I'm trying to, excuse me for a minute, because I'm trying to pull up the list of leaks.
Well, here, you can look at that stuff. And I
guess what's your history with Assassin's Creed, personally?
That's a great question. So, and as far as that goes, I have not probably played an Assassin's Creed since the Black Flag, the pirate ship one.
Oh, yeah.
I think. And I haven't jumped back into that world because it's one of those that's so big and it's so large that it kind of gets to be daunting to decide that, hey, I'm going to go and try to, accomplish anything in here when there's just so much world that's to go see and, encounter and deal with. And I don't know. I enjoy them. It just is overwhelming. To be honest. So I really haven't, since that Black Flag, I was kind of like, man, I just don't know. There's too much.
Black Flag blew me away because I was starting to get burnt out on Assassin's Creed, and I loved Black. And a lot of it was the pirate gameplay. I loved the whole aspect and the way Black Flag was told. I liked the story. Right. I did, it was really easy to get into. I love world history. Mm-hmm. So it's one of the big things. Like the first 2 Assassin's Creed were really big for me because of my love of world history.
Right.
And it was so easy for me to get lost in them. Assassin's Creed 2 was probably the first game I tried to actually platinum, so to speak, like get all the trophies.
I understand that Assassin's Creed 2 is amazing.
It was. I did like, and I'll tell everybody because it surprised me. I did enjoy Syndicate with the brother and sister and the being able to switch between them. I really enjoyed that, and it was London, and it was the time frame it was in. Right. It was like, I don't know why, it was just,
well, this series is totally made for you if you like history,
right,
and world building, because I mean that's what it's full of.
Right.
Did you play Origins?
I did play Origins, and I have a fascination also with the pyramids and all that. So I loved Origins. Yeah. I loved Origins more for the exploration of landmarks that I've always wanted to see in person. I was a little meh on the story, but it was still fun. Right. You know what I mean? They kind of changed up the whole aspect of what the assassins were a little bit. So I played a little bit of Odyssey. And I would say that my biggest knock for how they're handling is the RPG aspect. Yeah. They're really delving into. I like RPG games. I don't necessarily like them in my Assassin's Creed.
Well, and here's the question, or more of a statement. Sorry, not really a question, but I don't like them getting in my way either. If that makes sense. Like from what I've understand, like the level gating got a little bit intense.
It did.
Where it's like if this character, this enemy you're fighting maybe 5 levels above you, and you're not even going to damage him. Right. And that's what kind of turned me off about Witcher 3. In all honesty, playing it at some point, where I'm just like, man. Like, and here
there were some
where I'm just like, this character is so high above me, and I remember I was fighting a griffin or something that was just not the story plot to go and kill, but I killed it, and I got like minimal experience for it, and I was just like, I'm done. That was like kind of when I started being like, it stinks that if it's not story that you're not going to give me experience for beating a higher level character. Right, pissed me off.
So I have a funny story with that with Witcher 3. I came across there's a griffin you have to fight in the early part of the game. Before that, I accidentally came across a griffin. Right. Got my ass handed to me. I tried my hardest to beat it, and I couldn't. And I was like, I'm just not leveled enough to do it. And so then, like within what felt like an hour or two of gameplay, I actually hit that story point where you have to fight the griffin. And I'm like, well, shit, I can't beat this thing. Yeah. This isn't going to work. And then it was stupid easy, and I was
because you'd already gone through like the hard mode version, Griffin. Exactly. And you're like, wait a minute, this thing like not taking like a quarter or a half of my health with one swipe. Right, exactly. Can I actually survive this?
So all right, so I got it pulled up. This is the rumored leak.
Okay. On me.
The next title of the game is Ragnarok, codenamed Kingdom, Assassin's Creed Kingdom. Okay. Will launch on Xbox One, PS4, PS5, and X Series. Okay. I need to stop calling it the Series X because they said it's just called Xbox. It's just that tower version of Series X, but whatever. Anyways, officially announced in February in the upcoming PlayStation event, which we will talk about here in a little while. Yep. Release date September 29th. Okay. Up to 4-player drop-in and drop-out co-op like Ghost Recon. Yeah. Which,
I mean, look how that went though. We were all gangbusters about getting like the new one.
Right, but here's my issue with the Ghost Recon games. You can't really do anything without anybody. It's hard to do single player. Right. You know what I mean? Assassin's Creed is a single player game. If they can make this work in Unity, you couldn't even do that. Yeah. You had to do specific missions, which sucked. Because it's just like, I just want to run around and do shit with my buddy.
It's going to be GTA 5 all over again. We're just going to be running over each other in chariots. We're like, all right, time to... And I got killed by Sam in a chariot.
What I'm thinking it leans toward is Monster Hunter. In Monster Hunter, I could be playing and I could have a friend on and I can invite them into my session and they're doing the normal storyline and everything else with me in my game. Okay. And then they can drop out and do their own, and they keep the experience points they did while they did it. if it can be that simple, where hey, you're doing this mission,
that could be pretty fun.
Or Division 2, which is also a Ubisoft game,
right?
Which the Division games are a great example of just dropping in and out. Which, now that I'm thinking about it, if they can make it work the way the Division series works, it might be pretty good. Player can only play as a single player. The name of the player is Jorah, who can be chosen to be male or female. So there's no multiple players, but you still get to choose male or female, which they've done that for the last.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, it was just the last one. They didn't do that for Origins. Jorah led a small band of 4 during their adventures, which is why other players can drop in and out of your co-op.
Totally want to ride off a waterfall. That's my whole plan with you guys. And bail.
Just bail.
Be like, hey guys, where are you going?
So this is where I'm starting to get a little issue-y here in the next couple. Continuous heavy RPG mechanics. Kratos.
Yeah, Kratos just popped up. Or something, like a little nod to him.
Continuous heavy RPG mechanics, now including different classes and
gratitude, what did you call it?
Mild skill tree changes based on class. Player's class can be changed by a specific character. That's fine.
By somebody else. Like I could change yours.
Well, no.
Wouldn't that be great?
That would
so
piss me off.
Why can't I do anything?
God damn it, Sam,
you can
stop
run
it.
really fast now.
That's not how I want to play that.
You can roll fast.
You roll fast?
Upped your roll stat.
Thanks. Combat is upgraded with more weapon types and special abilities for every weapon grouping. Each weapon can have runes added, be upgraded, and durability increased. Durability, so there's my issue. Weapon durability does now come into play, forcing players to use their weapons pool more effectively and forced to manage a smaller inventory that can be upgraded.
Well, as long as it's better than Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild, that's what killed me in that game. It was I could hit something 3 times before my whatever I had broke.
Right.
And I was just like, this is garbage.
Yeah, there were a lot of times.
I was just so mad because I'm just like, this is all I've got. This is all I've got. And I'm just I couldn't finish that game.
There was something recently I was playing where I just kept having to fix the weapon durability, and I was getting really agitated.
Did you ever play Far Cry 2? Wait. Yeah, I think it was Far Cry. No, maybe it was Far Cry 3.
I played 3. Wait, which was the newest one? 4 was the newest one? I played 3 and 4.
Oh, man. I
played Primal. Did you play Primal?
No, I never played
Primal. Was so good.
Far Cry 2 is actually the one I'm thinking of. But in it, your weapons can get degraded and stuff like that, and you had to clean it and stuff. But it would just be funny because every now and then your shotgun would blow up in your face. It'd be it backfired.
Nice,
stupid gun. And you also had malaria in it.
Oh,
you had malaria, and you had to take a pill, and you could literally, until they patched it, you could be swimming, and all of a sudden a fever attack would hit you, and you drown. If you didn't have a pill, you'd be like, well,
that's poor design.
Yeah. It was relentless. That game. It's great in a bad way.
Replacing adrenaline is a berserker mode, which also activates special runes like fire, frost, or lightning damage, which also reminds me of God of War.
Sounds like Castle Crashers.
Main sailing returns, but is less combat intensive and more focused on exploration and travel. Probably on the because that was one of the reasons I had a hard time getting into Odyssey, was they put way more combat. So in Black Flag, you would come across people. Yeah. And they had the ghost ships and stuff like that.
No, for sure.
That was fun. Whaling, all that that was fun. Attacking forts was really fun.
Gosh, I forgot about that. That was a blast.
But in Odyssey, there was way more always coming across ships, always fighting ships, and various types and quantities and waves.
Right, and you just kind of get tired of it after a while. We were like, stop.
I'm don't make it a must, make it an experience.
Once again, Far Cry 2, you're driving around and people nonstop attack you. You could just be walking and people come and attack you and be like, you don't even know who I am. I'm just a normal guy walking.
Right.
Give me a break. There was an APB out about me. I don't even think they have this here in Africa, wherever I'm at. Leave me alone. I'm just walking. Please.
Parkour is upgraded with tree climbing and new animations. They've had tree climbing.
I was going to say it's about time we climb a tree.
Tree climbing.
Fact check you.
Assassin's Creed 3 with Connor was when they introduced tree climbing.
Oh, I can't argue that. Actually, you're right. I know what you're talking about. American Indian, or yeah.
Unless there's maybe they're talking about any tree and not just the ones with the big V's.
I don't know.
The hidden blade is back and is far more customizable in terms of cosmetics. Can be upgraded to kill in one stab.
That's kind of nice.
That did kind of annoy me in Odyssey. Like I loved just like walking up behind somebody and just a quick little jab to keep walking, and it was like, oh shit, what happened back there? Yeah. You know what I mean?
That guy just fell over.
Stealth is upgraded by having physical stealth skills such as hiding in mud, snow, crouching in bushes, hiding in bales of hay. Players can now also hide in crowds of civilians if their outfit and armor is appropriate. Otherwise, it can attract attention, which sounds more like Assassin's Creed 2.
I was going to say, it sounds like they're bringing a lot of characteristics of older games back.
Right, and this. I like that. Players now have a reputation system based on quests completed for people in cities.
Beard,
yes.
Beard better be involved.
The town officials,
even if you're a woman.
Clothing worn, crimes committed.
Oh, you know
some quests and story missions can only be completed after reaching a certain reputation with the kingdoms. I'm a little over halfway here. Conquest battles return. I hate Conquest. Players can also find battles between warring kingdoms occurring dynamically through the world. So just like come across two different kingdoms fighting and get involved if you want. Multiple settlements throughout the world can be captured and controlled for trade and currency gains.
Okay.
Players can organize large-scale raids of forts and cities with nearby Viking camps. Wait for their own raids or go in by themselves. So there's been, I kind of like the sneaking in all by yourself.
Yeah.
Doing what you got to do and get out and nobody ever knows.
Oh, absolutely.
But at the same time, especially if you got 4 friends or 3 friends and you want to like just go in and just, Vic, you were not my friend.
Oh, you didn't hurt his feelings.
Actually, no, you are my best friend because you're keeping my family warm right now. The assassins are believed to have a connection to Odin and dub their Raven drone as Odin Sight. Difficulty returns, but focuses more on parry times. That was the other thing about Odyssey. The parry times got really ridiculous, and trying to parry some of those attacks was just... And I have it. I didn't pay for it. I downloaded it because Dave owns it. Leveling is overhauled to allow players to improve skill sets to gain experience like in Skyrim.
Right.
As a result, level locking regions and content is gone. Thank God.
Yeah.
I always hated that. Like,
see, that's
let
what
me
I'm
go
talking
to
about.
it.
Exactly. That's what I'm talking about too. Like,
if I get my ass handed to me because I went to the Red X, that's my fault.
But give me the opportunity to actually make some effect. Like the part where you said about the blade being a one-hit kill. It's like, yeah, if I can get wherever, like guard it heavily. Like, make it difficult, like for me to actually like achieve what I'm trying to do.
Right.
But if I can make it, work, let me do it.
Right.
Let me get up there, even if this person's supposed to be like,
I should be able to max out my stealth kills and one-shot kill somebody who's a level higher than me.
Absolutely.
If the situation allows for it.
Absolutely. And then to like be like, no, sorry, they're a level above you. That's...
Right.
Give me a break.
Some skills are unlocked by reaching a high enough skill set level. Some must be bought with skill points, and others are unlocked through game and story. And then this is the last one and the biggest one. The map is massive, like all of Northern Europe. It says my source mentioned big cities like York, London, Paris, and Kiev. Every kingdom was meant to be really unique.
That's kind of cool.
So I totally forgot that there was even an Assassin's Creed coming.
Yeah. And
then this leak just dropped and it was like...
Do you think they'll show anything at E3?
I don't know.
Or do they typically
Well, that's the thing. It's going to be announced at a PlayStation event.
Oh, yeah.
So let's get to that. Yeah. So they shit the bed at CES. They now I say that. But if they've had something planned...
Right.
You know what I mean? And there's been rumors of them doing a PlayStation Experience type event in February and like different places. I don't know. So I'm going to read the first Games Radar, the headline. Sony plans Experience PlayStation event as rumors of PS5 reveal pick up. A strangely worded, suspiciously timed event is coming to New York City's Sony Square showroom. The Experience PlayStation event starts tomorrow, January 14th, and will run through February 16th. Judging from the listing on Sony's website, it will open from 12 p.m. to 7 p.m. each day, Eastern Standard Time, allowing New Yorkers to visit the celebrate 25 years of play in collection of titles on the PS4 and PSVR. This suggests that the Experience PlayStation is just a month-long follow-up to December's 25 years of play event, one that will let New York locals get in on the fun through live game demos. Experience PlayStation mobile app. For what it's worth, Sony does regularly use its NYC showroom to host demos like this. In 2019, it did NHL. So, that being said, the timing and location are curious. A previous rumor suggested that a new PlayStation meeting would be held in February 2020, which is the event I was telling you about. Its main purpose being to properly reveal the PS5. The last time Sony revealed a console, the PS4 Pro, it did so at an event in New York.
Okay. There it is.
As Variety reported, the theater that hosted that event has since closed, so it's possible Sony will use its new New York showroom to unveil the PS5 instead. However, whether this Experience PlayStation event will contain PS5 news or not perhaps will lead to some...
Well, that
remains to be seen.
That's positive to hear, because I think, from some of the other news that we've got there where Sony has bowed out of E3 again this year.
Yeah, that was the other thing, and I sent that to you, like, hey, we're not coming to E3. Holy crap. Because...
Yeah.
So, here's the thing. Last year, they handed E3 to Microsoft, and they said,
right,
it's yours. Take this moment to do what you want. And they didn't.
Yeah,
like,
no, Microsoft just kind of...
It came and went, and it was like, whatever.
Like, which, may have been a very strategic move on their part, just being like, if Sony's not going to do anything, we're not going to show our hand either.
Right. But that is a year before a console release.
Absolutely, yeah.
This is the year of a console release, and you're backing out of the biggest show, and you're literally, now you are, more so than you did last year, handing the entire stage to Microsoft.
Well, but on that...
Real quick, I want to point out that I hate the whole console wars thing.
It's fun, though. It's fun.
It's fun to an extent.
But I don't...
The internet can make it not fun.
Absolutely. The people on the internet get, I think, way too invested in it,
right,
one way or another. Because, I own all three, which is nice. I'm in a place in life that I can do that. And I do understand for people that have limited income, you have to make a decision of where you're going to go. And, like, as far as the way I have it right now, Nintendo's Nintendo. So, I enjoy having them because... Nintendo exclusives there's nothing like them.
Right. They are their own
Sony
thing.
has some of the best single player games that are out there. And then Xbox is where I prefer to do like my multiplayer gaming most of the time. I was like, that's just kind of how it goes. And I mean, that's just the way it's been for me. And I'm like I said, I've been blessed. I've been able to have, all three consoles right now. I'm like, this is, looking back at life, if I told young Sam this is where I'd be, I'd do a backflip and be like, that's awesome. I can't believe you actually achieved this. This is amazing. That's all I would have wanted. Like, I could die and happy man now. I'm like, fantastic. But it is just, it is fun to have these little, discussions about like this or that. But it is curious because, like you said, why? Like, one of the biggest stages.
The year you're releasing your newest console.
But I do feel like this is almost a similar type move that Sony did where a while back, gosh, man, I can't remember if it was last year or the year before, where they kind of showed off their little PlayStation experience, and then Microsoft, they had went unanswered for like a long time. Was it the PS4 Pro?
Yeah, probably.
Or something that they unveiled that of like, now look how much more powerful the console is, even now. And Microsoft had nothing to say for what is it, March, April, May, June, 4 months.
Right.
And that, I feel like, didn't damage Microsoft's image, but it did just kind of say like, guys, you need to get out there and say and do something. Now Microsoft has taken this first step to say, hey, here's our box. Right. We're not going to tell you anything about it, but here it is.
Right.
So they've said, put their flag in the sand, said, we're ready to make our stake. So I'm very curious if Sony comes out and says, here's what we're offering, and gives you a little bit more information. Is Microsoft going to come back shortly after? They've got to have like a contingency plan of like, here's how we display our console move forward.
And the biggest thing for me is I feel it's going to be a competition of who can give the most yet least information.
Yes.
It really
absolutely.
is. So Microsoft unveiled the box.
Yeah.
So let's say in February they're going to show. If I was a betting man.
And we've actually already seen a PS5 game.
We have
God Hand or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
And so here's what I'm gonna. If I was a betting man, this is what I guess if I was doing it, this is what I would do.
Yeah.
This February, end of February, they take the next 3 to 4 weeks and tease everything they can tease. Cap off whatever this thing they're doing in New York is with an unveil of a slew of trailers, including a couple, like 1 or 2 first-party games. Throw in a reveal that nobody knows is coming.
Right.
Elder Scrolls, something.
Right.
Just, Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Show the box, show the controller.
Yeah.
Show the horsepower visually.
Right.
But don't talk about it. And give us a big feature. Confirm, this is the big thing, confirm backwards compatibility for every PlayStation console leading up to it. That's what I would do. Here's what it looks like. Here's the controller. We're giving you this box can play every PlayStation game ever. 1, 2, 3, and 4. If you had the disc,
I don't think that's going to happen.
You don't think that's going to happen?
I would be, as a betting man, I don't think there's any way they're going to be able to make it completely backwards compatible. Just saying.
There's a lot of rumors right now that they're
I'm wrong,
telling.
but I would be extremely surprised if they were able to make that happen.
So you show the box, show the controller, you make one big announcement like backwards compatibility, and then you show a slew of trailers. Don't give any more information out.
Right.
Don't even give a release date.
Right.
And then after E3, drop whatever information Microsoft hasn't dropped. Countered with.
Counter, basically.
Because here's the thing. More than half of any trailers they show when they announce the PS5, like officially announce it, they're all going to be third-party games.
Yeah.
Because that's who's been working on them. Other than Last of Us 2, and maybe, I don't know what Guerrilla is working on, maybe a Horizon sequel.
Right.
I see one, maybe 2 first-party games. Everything else is going to be third-party developers showing off what the system can do. And that's going to be a majority of what they're going to have to show, which means it's going to be the same damn stuff that Microsoft's going to show at E3.
Right.
Because other than Halo and Forza and Gears, I don't see Microsoft showing off unless they're just going to blow us away with some big console exclusive that...
I mean, they could. I think Microsoft would be smart with some of the studios that they bought to kind of show off some of here's a little teaser.
Fable.
Here's a little teaser. That's exactly what I was thinking. Absolutely. I think if they show that at E3, which I think they should, I think that now's the time, even if it's a year, 2 years out.
We're working on it. Tell us you're working on it.
When Sony had, I think one of the best press conferences I saw that Sony had was when at E3 when they had the Live Symphony and they showed like God of War, and like all these different like exclusives to the PS4.
Right.
And they were like years out. They were like 2 years out, and you're just like, it's there, but here's like a taste of it. If Microsoft were to come and do something similar to that, I think it would blow people's minds.
I think that's what Sony's going to do at the end of whatever this event is in February.
Yeah.
Is this like...
give a little like far out look.
Yeah. Here's our long term.
I think they show
here's the cool
Spider-Man
things right again. Dude.
Just a little tease.
Tease the story. If they could tease the story, and it almost has to have Miles as that Spider-Man.
Absolutely.
I think if you tease the story, it would be great.
They wouldn't even have to show much. I mean, they could show just a logo and have like a voiceover.
They could show... You know what they could do? They could just they could do a CG or in-game engine of Miles and Peter talking.
Yeah.
And then
those are the times it's so fun because talking about what they could do.
Right.
I almost wouldn't want to even know exactly what it was who was talking. Just pull some I don't know, give me a crazy villain that is kind of lesser known within the Spider-Man universe, but people know that fits with Spider-Man, and you just have like somebody like talking in a voice that you don't recognize. You're like, man, what are they talking about? It's all cryptic and stuff like that, and then it's just Spider-Man 2, and you're just like, oh, that was Lizard, which Lizard guy's well known, but like somebody that's like Miss Webb or what's her name, Madam Webb or something like that. Right. Throw something like crazy in there, which would be, I don't know, blow people's minds.
I like people's minds. Well, the people probably want Venom in the second game, which I don't want Venom in the second game. I want Venom in the third game. If you're going to do it, I think you elaborate more on the world. Yeah. At least one more game. And then give us Venom as a set up Venom in the second game. And then give it to you in the third. But I agree, like, with the teasing aspect. Mm-hmm. So one of the coolest things, was it... before they started filming Batman versus Superman, there was a big panel where they were talking about the long term or I think Zack Snyder was like following up on Man of Steel and talking about stuff. Right. It was like, well, what are you doing next? And they had Henry Lennox come out, and he goes, I'm going to have him read this. And it was a line from The Dark Knight Returns. Yeah, I think it's The Dark Knight Returns, the comic book, where Bruce is just verbally assaulting Superman. Yeah. It's like, you're going to know I'm the man who beat you. Yeah. And like everybody who knew the line and know the speech started popping, and they popped the BVS logo up, and people were like, but it was like, it was so simple. It was like a line that most people know, and you don't even have to know. But if you establish it, you could have like, just the skyline of New York, right? Yeah. And you could have just voiceover commentary between like Miles and Peter or Mary Jane or something, talking about how crazy it's been and like some of the changes and the big stuff going on. And then you like just subtly change the music a little bit, and then boom, logo.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It could be simple as that, and people will lose their mind. It could be like, this is 5 years out. Right. But it doesn't matter. People will be like, fine. So,
fine. Right. Yeah. Tell me.
This is the only place I can play it. PS5 all the way.
Yeah. They can maybe even confirm they're working on the next God of War. They say
they don't even have to do anything. They just play a horn.
Right.
Like,
right.
God of War 2.
I still remember watching when they popped with the God of War trailer during E3. Yeah. And everybody was like, "What is this?" Yeah. And then it was like, "Oh my God, that's Kratos! What is happening? Yeah. He has a son? What is going on?"
Oh yeah. And now to kind of have like the story where they're going with it, it's kind of like, oh man.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Elaborate on it more. I can't wait for them to delve into that.
Thor doesn't look too pleased.
So there is another interesting thing happening right now. So you're kind of funny fan, like I am, Greg Miller fan. Right now, apparently there are a lot of Sony execs in San Francisco.
Yeah, I actually saw some people eating together.
Yeah, so Greg Miller posted a picture of him and his wife having dinner with Shuhei Yoshida, who runs Sony Worldwide Studios, and Andrew Goldfarb, who used to be with IGN, went to Insomniac, went back to IGN, and now has some other role within Sony. But and there's apparently other execs that people were talking about are in San Francisco this week. So people are wondering, like, hey, with the events, this PlayStation Experience thing starting tomorrow, and they're in San Francisco like beforehand, you think they're like finalizing some stuff? Like, hey, let's get everybody together in one room. Let's make sure everybody's on the same page. Let's do this.
I heard an interesting question about these new consoles, and I thought it would be fun to kind of pose to you. What amount would be too much to not pick it up on
600.
600
at
600
most
or above, and you'd be like,
I can't no. Yeah. Even with, I told you I talked about like where I wanted to pre-order them and slowly pay off. 600 I can't.
Okay, I just was curious. It's kind of one of those, it's like, what is the upper limit of a console where you're just like, I can't justify it, and it's going to drop eventually too. It may be a year, maybe 2 years later, and the library will be nice and a little bit faster then.
Okay, so then here's a question. Yeah. I'll counter that.
Yeah, counter that, please.
If one of the consoles is at the limit where you're like, no, but they've shown you games that you want and are going to be amazing, would you maybe consider it?
So you're saying like the limit is 600,
right?
And they post it and it's like, yep, 600. But like, say I'm just gonna use it like Halo Infinite, like just looks ridiculous.
Too good to pass up.
Too incredible. Like it's just like this looks
right.
Like everything I've ever wanted in a Halo game. Like it's just like the story's there, the multiplayer looks crazy as all get out. They add a battle royale, or which not that I needed battle royale. That's what it's about. But like I could see like something crazy of being like, this is gonna be insane. Like this is gonna be everything like in one package. I don't know. That's a tough call.
So like the price is gonna affect which one I go after first.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
When you've heard, so now talking some more of the rumors, like there's discussion that. Real discussion that's Microsoft is going to have two different consoles. It's going to have, there's this one that's touted as Series X, which the Xbox X is like the most powerful one. It's the more powerful of the two, and the Xbox Series X. And they're talking about how the branding is going to be. There's just going to be Xbox, and what I think is going to happen is there's going to be Xbox, and then there's going to be the Xbox Series X,
right? Which is what I think they're going to do.
And so. I don't know. Like, granted, I don't even own a 4K TV at this point. Like, I keep kind of being like, well, him and haw. Like, I just haven't done it. I mean, it's just a lot to drop on TV and everything. But I don't know. There's always that part of me that's like, man, when things start, they look good, and it's just kind of crazy to show off some of what a console can do. I don't know. What do you do? Like, if say like that like the one that's called Lockhart, I think, which is the one that's a little bit more standard. It's like your $400 one, and then you've got the Series X that's maybe $600.
Right, $550.
Yeah,
that's what they would do. They would increase it $150. Yeah.
But what do you do then? What do you do then when you're just like, I want to get an Xbox and that. But.
It would. So here would be my thing. So like this was my big thing with the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X. Yeah. Was like, this is what I was telling everybody. Do you own a 4K television?
Yeah.
And they were like, well, no. I was like, then don't.
Right.
I can't. Yeah, there's no reason to justify on either of them for me to spend. And it's funny because I now own a 4K television and I don't own either of them. Right. But at the same time, I'm like, that's going to be my thing. There has to be features in the Xbox, the X series that are so far available or so far ahead of the other one that I have and don't have to invest more into.
Right. Because that's hard. That hurts whenever you're just like, well, I've got this, but the features that it offers, I can't even play.
Right. Are you gonna? The biggest kicker is gonna be, hey, we're releasing Halo Infinite, but it's only gonna be able to be playable on the X series.
Yeah.
That would be a kick in the balls.
Well, and that's not gonna happen. They've already come out and said that. I guess these games are actually gonna be backward or compatible with the Xbox that we have now.
Okay.
The Xbox One. Like they said it for a while. They said things are gonna like basically go in between. Yeah. Like they're not gonna like knock out the new.
As long as they're not putting only playable on this version of the new Xbox or even with PlayStation.
I think that cannibalizes.
Then I don't see necessarily right off the bat the reason to jump, because especially where Microsoft's even said we have a 5-year plan before we release an updated version, and then it's always a 10-year. Halfway through, we'll give you an updated version. So you're already telling me, which I think is such a mistake for them to release more than one version of the console at launch. Yeah. And then in 5 years, you're going to release another one.
Yeah. This is going to be tough. I mean, I think Microsoft is trying to have their cake and eat it too with this possible, two console generation, because I think they don't want to come out again and be the less powerful console. Right. But at the same time, like they know price-wise, they're like, man, we've got to like meet that 400 mark, because that's probably where PS5 or whatever is going to come out and be. So like, well, maybe we can have both options. Maybe we can have our Lockhart with like, hey, we're right there. We're comparable with Sony. With the Lockhart version, we're price-wise the same. Here's all the new stuff. And then they're like, but if you want to like a little primo, ordeal, there you go. Yeah. And I always tell myself too, like, I always am like, you know what? Don't get caught up in the hype. Just wait a year or so, and it'll drop. And then, prices will be more manageable at that point. But it's always hard then, because you kind of want to be part of the conversation and enjoying things as they come.
There's a good chance what they'll do is Sony probably has a price point they'd like to do it.
Yeah.
I feel like Microsoft has to announce a price at E3.
You think it's going to happen?
I think they have to. If they want pre-orders and they want to get a jump on anything Sony does, they're going to have to say.
It's a dangerous game. This is like playing
I know,
chicken.
but so what? E3's in June. You're halfway through the year.
Yeah.
You kind of have to. And what I say, if they come out and say, hey, we have 2 consoles, here are our 2 price points, Sony can just go, well, I'll just throw it in the middle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so say we'll do this. Say $450 for the regular, $600 for the top end.
Right.
Sony comes in and goes, $525. We're in the middle, and you're gonna get the same thing you're gonna get for the lower end Xbox, version, right. And
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see.
Because then we're not, and see, that's the kicker. If you want a better higher end Xbox, wait 5 years. In my opinion, you get the lower normal one.
Right.
And again, unless there's something that you're just like, well, I just can't not have that. Which I can't even think of something where it can't not have that. Yeah, you know what I mean?
In development.
Right.
We can't think of it.
Right.
But they are.
They are. Yeah, probably. They're trying to think of something. But so for me, that's like, well, get a normal one. And then in 5 years, not only will they release a way better version, they will be improving on what they have.
Oh, absolutely.
And you're just getting a better version of something you like.
That's very well said. I would agree with that.
So.
Whether if I do that, we'll see.
Right. You also got to get a lot of approvals on that on your end.
Yeah.
And my end too, to be honest.
It's like turning the keys.
Yes.
Together. So we'll see what happens.
All right, sir. We talked longer than we probably expected. It's 9:00.
Yeah. Good show, though.
Yeah, good show.
Too long. Sorry, I got tired last night.
It's all right. We'll deal with it.
Oh.
I'll deal with it.
We'd like to talk about, so the Oscars are coming up.
We'll do that next week.
No, I know. I was going to say talk about the movie. Just talk about the plan for.
Oh, so you well, I don't know if I'll be able to watch that many movies before next week.
That's okay. I just didn't know if you wanted to mention what we were.
Yeah, we Sam and I were talking earlier today about watching all the movies on the Best Picture list, which you've already seen.
I kind of wanted to see Parasite.
I do too. Things. We saw that. That was in the trailer before one of the movies you and I went and saw.
Probably Terminator.
I think it was Terminator. Yeah. Because there were 2 Japanese trailers before that movie, wasn't there?
Terminator's gotten a lot of hate. I had no idea.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
It's kind of weird.
So
like a lot of hate.
The Best Picture nominees are Ford vs. Ferrari,
Seen it.
The Irishman,
which
is on Netflix.
Yeah.
So, Jojo Rabbit.
I want to see that.
Joker.
Seen that.
Which I've seen Joker. Little Women.
Emily saw that. That blows my mind. That a movie that's been made like 20 times.
Right. Marriage Story, which I've never even heard of.
That's on Netflix, I believe.
Is it? Okay. Yeah. 1917. Which
I don't see.
We didn't see. Yeah.
You should play hooky tomorrow. During noon.
My boss is out of town until Thursday.
Let's go see it. Let's go see an afternoon show.
I'll have to clear that with my wife. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Seen it.
Which I've seen too. We saw that together. And then Parasite.
Yeah.
So I've seen Once Upon a Time and Joker.
And 2 of them we can see on Netflix.
So we can knock those out. And I'll see what else I can find online.
And I've heard The Irishman is so long.
Is it?
Yes, it's like 12 hours.
Hey Siri, how long is The Irishman?
Which one? I found 2. Kill the Irishman and Annie Green, The Rise and Fall of the Irishman. Which one?
Seriously.
Neither.
Oh man. It's super long. And from everybody that I've heard, they've said that it's just okay.
How long is The Irishman on Netflix?
Kill the Irishman is 106 minutes.
Shut up.
I'm just going to Google it.
Just Google it.
Oh, man. My internet's throwing. I've heard it's like over 3 hours long, basically.
Really?
Yep.
That's insane. But we can watch. I mean, I don't know if we'll get them all watched before next week. But
Jojo Rabbit.
I do want to see Jojo Rabbit.
3 hours, 30 minutes.
Really?
Yep.
Jeez.
Yep.
Okay. Let me split that one up in a. Have it.
Yeah. That's take your time. So.
But we'll. When are the Oscars?
I don't know.
Hey Siri. When are the Oscars?
We could have our own personal best picture of the year.
Just a moment.
Here, I'll look.
92nd Academy Awards is on Sunday,
February 9th.
9th of February.
Oh, okay. We got time.
Oh yeah.
We got more than a
92nd. Yeah, we'll try and watch those movies before that comes out, which will be the week after Birds of Prey.
There you go.
I am required to see that movie with my wife.
That's all right.
Is that a movie your wife will go see with you?
No, probably not.
Okay.
Maybe. I don't know. Sometimes she's like, oh, I'll go see that.
You're not opposed to going to movies by yourself.
No, not at all.
I am. I don't like it, but
No, I don't mind it a bit.
It'd be something
It's
good.
like the best thing ever.
And probably be nice in the middle of the week if you're off one of the days.
Completely.
So, all right, sir. Let's wrap this up.
Yep.
You have a wonderful evening. Good talking to you as always. Do you work next Monday?
I do think I work next Monday.
Well, if you're too tired, just let me know.
I will. I'll shoot you. Maybe we can make it a quick one.
All right. That's what she said. I will talk to you later, sir. Have a good night.
You too.